Good evening, everyone. Time is now 7:30, Thursday, May 12th. This is the work session of the Allendale Mayor and Council. Welcome to everyone who's joining us in the audience and on Zoom webinar. At this time, I ask everyone to please mute your devices so as not to distract from the business of the meeting. There will be one opportunity during this meeting, the work session, for public comment, and we will advise you at the appropriate time. And there will be two opportunities to speak during the regular session. Michelle, please read the Open Public Meeting Act announcement.
Sure. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice requirements have been satisfied. And dates for the year confirmed at the annual meeting are posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and on the borough website, published in the record within the first 10 days of the year, and copies are sent to the Ridgewood News and Star Ledger. Notice of this meeting by the May 10, 2022 sunshine notice was sent to the record, Ridgewood News and Star Ledger, and has been posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and borough website.
Great, thank you. I do, before we get into public comment and the presentation of our budget, I do want to, we are going to be, during the regular session after the pledge, we're going to observe a moment of silence for Al Klomberg, former mayor emeritus. I served 4 terms. I never had, I knew of him. I went to school with one of his daughters. I know Amy did as well. Family, he did a lot for Allendale. I don't think, not my place to put it. We mourn his passing. We are thankful for everything that he did. The borough sent flowers on our behalf. Included was Mayor Emeritus Vince Barra and Mayor Emeritus Liz White, who also expressed their condolences. So our heart and prayers and love to the Klomberg family, and we will be observing a moment of silence after the pledge. On to the work session, public comment. Anyone, this is the first of 3 opportunities tonight for the public present to comment. Anyone from the public wishing to speak, please come to the microphone at the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to address us. Anyone wish to be heard?
I'm sorry, we didn't do a roll call yet.
Okay, yep, thank you. Let's do that. Michelle, please conduct the roll call.
Councilwoman Homan. Here. Councilwoman Lovasola.
Here.
Councilman O'Connell.
Here.
Councilman O'Toole.
Here.
Councilman Sassa is absent. Councilwoman Wilsinski
Here.
and Mayor Bernstein.
Here, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Public comment. Anyone wish to be heard during the work session? Not seeing anyone. Okay. A big on the agenda presentation, a big presentation for us. The 2022 municipal budget presented by Paul Lurch, our borough auditor. Tonight during the regular session, we will have the public hearing and adoption of our 2022 municipal budget. Our borough auditor, Paul Lurch of Lurch, Vinci and Higgins, will be making a presentation now. But before I ask him to start, and I know he's online, I want to thank my council colleagues, especially Councilwoman Wazinski and Councilman O'Toole, for their tireless efforts overseeing the budget process and their dedication to our community. I know there are a lot of hours spent. I was there for most of them, a lot of them, and it's definitely a budget that we can be proud of. It was not an easy year, to say the least, and you have delivered a fiscally prudent budget that we can all be proud of. I speak for everyone when I express our sincere gratitude to our CFO, Lisa Mayer, and our auditor, Paul Lurch, for their wealth of knowledge and guidance that we truly rely on so heavily. We could not have done this without you. Thank you to Ron Kistner, the department heads and employees, for your mindfulness of the difficult and uncertain times we are facing, continuing to deliver the services that our residents deserve and have come to expect. And finally, most importantly, thank you to the taxpayers for your support and confidence in our abilities to make decisions for our beloved community and borough. And I know it's always difficult trying to find where that line is. We want to spend, we want to invest in our future and our town, and we also want to keep it reasonable and affordable and make sure that everyone can afford to live here. And it's difficult, but I commend everyone for getting it. So with that, Paul, if you'd like to start your presentation, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to just start by saying that what I intend to do is give an overview with the presentation. I'm not going to get into great detail, And of course, if there are any questions, by all means, Alyssa and myself, we can try to certainly answer those questions. But I'm going to start by just talking about fiscal operations for 21, and then we can kind of move forward into 22. So I think overall, I think everybody should be happy with the results of 21. The results of 21 wound up increasing surplus by roughly $94,000 from the year before, which just shows that we are now starting to come through the COVID period. Revenues are starting to tick up a little bit. So that's certainly a positive. Surplus is up roughly to 2.4 million. And in the budget that you are contemplating tonight for adoption, it also utilizes that additional 90 some odd thousand of surplus that was generated. So that's certainly a positive thing. We'll talk a little bit about some of the collection rate dropped a little bit from the year before, and the tax collection rate, and that was due to one particular large property owner who had unpaid taxes by the end of the year. But overall, I think it was a positive year. Certainly assessed values went up from 21 to 22. And we'll talk a little bit about that as I go through the presentation. So what's in front of everybody is a presentation of the 2022 year-end budget or proposed budget. This budget that's presented to you and the public is a budget that was approved by the obviously introduced by the governing body and approved by the Division of Local Governmental Services. So this went under review. They went through, they had some minor comments for us. We responded to those, mostly minor technical issues. Alyssa and I responded to those, and then they later approved the borough to adopt if so desired. So I'm going to go to page 2. And page 2, it's very similar to what I've done in the previous years, overview style. We're just going to compare 2022 proposed, and we're going to look at that comparing it to 2021. Overall, the total budget you can see on the bottom is up 2.9%. And we have the 5 various categories here, 6 categories. Surplus, as I indicated to you. So these are the revenues. We're anticipating revenue to balance the budget in 2022 and comparing it to what we had in 2021. As I started off by saying, overall surplus is up. The amount that we increased surplus was being utilized back or given back as a revenue line item in the 2022 budget. And that's why we're up 96,000. Municipal revenues is really almost a catch-all here. So it's really any revenues that you're collecting based upon fees or ordinances that the borough has instituted. So it's court, it's fees and permits, it's recreation. It's actually the pilot program is in here. Construction code is in here. It's kind of a catch-all. We're up by basically about $159,000. The majority of that increase is really attributable to 2 components. One is the increase in the pilot now from the 22230 project. And the other piece now is the construction code revenues. What we realize are greater than what we had budgeted in 2021. And therefore, we're allowed now to increase the amount that we anticipate in 2022 because we're actually realizing more money as we go through the year. And comparing it to 2021. And that's a direct result of COVID. So back in the days of COVID, construction, court, interest, those items were really down. They're starting to come back to somewhat of the normal levels. So those are positive items. State aid, it's been unchanged for, feels like my lifetime. So, this is just what it is every single year. We keep putting the same numbers in. So we're getting to 1 million and that hasn't changed. Miscellaneous revenues, just miscellaneous items that aren't attached to a fee ordinance or a schedule or some kind of municipal identified fee. And so we're down here dramatically, but you'll see when we go to the spending side, it's going to be down dramatically as well, because it's really offset by the debt service component that we had to pay on the 22230, which was the principal on the note and the interest. And that was offset by a revenue that we were collecting, a reserve for debt service. So this becomes a wash, even though when you look at this, it really jumps out at you, but we'll see it on the expenditure side. We have a corresponding decrease. Okay, so then we have receipts from delinquent taxes. The revenue is up. And the reason the revenue is up is because our collection rate dropped and we had a higher receivable at the end of 21. So the normal receivable that we have is somewhere I'm going to say around $200,000. Last year, we ended the year with about $400,000 of uncollected taxes. So while it hurt us in 2021, when we go to 2022, we're actually able to increase the amount that we're anticipating as a delinquent tax because the receivable is outstanding and we know we're going to collect it. You'll see it also hurts us on the appropriation side when we talk about the reserve for uncollected taxes. So it kind of bubbles back and forth. So the collection rate dropped, our revenues are up here, but the appropriation side is going to be up as well. So kind of goes hand in hand. And then we're left with the final component, and this is the grand finale. And you know, as you go through the budget building process, you go through the appropriations, and of course we come up with the revenues. And at the end, there's always a balancing act as to, well, you know, what do we need to raise in tax dollars to balance the budget and provide adequate appropriations. And this includes the library. So this is up 719,000 or 6.6%. Okay, I'm going to flip to page 3. And this is really, I'm not going to spend much time at all on this because this is just a pie chart. I think if, you know, I keep going back and looking at the previous years, really doesn't change, honestly. I mean, I think once this pie chart is kind of established, unless you have a drastic change, it really doesn't. So the majority of the tax dollars are coming from taxation. That should be no surprise to anybody. And it's very consistent. You're giving back roughly 8% of your cash balances, your surplus every year to balance the budget as well. So, you're doing a very good job with that component as well. I'm going to move to page 4. Page 4 is just an analysis, and it gives the readers an ability to say, where are we on tax cap? New Jersey's very vocal over the past 40 years or so, talking about spending caps and tax levy caps and appropriation caps. There are caps, but just like every other rule, there are always exceptions to the rules. And we do have some banking that's always permitted on this. But this goes back to 2007, and it was amended in 2010. And it's a cap that was intended to limit the amount that you can raise on tax dollars. And really what this schedule says to you, it says, okay, so in 2022, what are we raising in tax dollars? So we're raising $10,994,359. And again, it differs from the 2 pages before because this is purely just municipal, does not include the library as well. So we're allowed to raise 10,994,000, or that's what we're raising, I'm sorry. And the maximum permitted by statute based upon this law is 11,211,872, showing that you're $217,000 below the maximum amount that you can raise in tax dollars. That 217 will roll to next year and be available. The current cap is 2%. I should have said that up front, but again, there are exceptions to what can come in and out of that 2%.
Paul, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So, and that 217, is there like a number that's good, that's appropriate to keep, or can you kind of take that down to a zero, the amount allowable?
Yeah, I think,
They like you to keep.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, when they look at it, do they like you to have a little bit there, or is that money you can play with?
Well, it's money you can play with. And I think at the end of the day, you'd like that to be as high as possible, right? Because what it really means is that then you're not taxing as much as you are permitted to tax. So it's kind of one way to look at it. You're allowed to spend more, but you're not spending more.
Thank you.
Where it gets dangerous is if it goes to zero and then you have issues in a subsequent year, then you don't have the ability to go beyond the 2%. So it's just a little bit of an insurance policy.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So then page 5 is now we're on a spending side. And again, I kind of broke it down into what I think are relevant categories here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through each one of these categories, but just on an overview, obviously you can see that the total budget, again, is up the same 2.9%. And then how do we break down the spending side? So really the last component you would look at is general government, because it's anything that didn't fit in any one of the other categories is general government. So it's clerk, it's admin, finance, tax, legal, audit, engineering, you name it, it's there, planning board, or everything is in there, court, that's not sitting in another specific area. And that's up, 243,000. The bulk of that really is in three categories. One is in the clerk line. There's an increase in the salary adjustment line of roughly, 60,000, clerks up roughly 45,000, and legals up 74,000. So those three are the bulk of what makes up that increase. Next line is insurance. That covers all types of insurance. This is just typically up every single year. We know that. The majority of this is in health. So of the 197,000, 176 is sitting in just health insurance alone. Those are the increases there. Police looks great. I mean, police is relatively flat, which is unusual, but nice to see.
Still number one.
It is nice to see. Nice to see. Fire and emergency obviously is up a little bit, 13. Park and recreation, which is really primarily Crestwood Lake, is kind of flat as well. I mean, 18. Public Works is up 50,000, 3%, and that's streets and roads. Sewer and solid waste is up 138, and the Northwest Sewer alone, that component is 91,000 of that 138. That's the major increase there. Utilities in bulk. So really what this is really, it's electric, it's gas, it's energy. That's what we call utilities in bulk. Believe it or not, we didn't have to really increase this. So we must have had the ability to absorb the cost of living increases that we're now experiencing gasoline and those costs. So that's nice to see as well. Library statute contribution, that's by statute. That's set and we're established and have a minimum amount that we need to pay. And so that's up to $45,000. Statutory and fixed charges. Statutory and fixed charges are up about 130. Really, what is this? This is really pensions. So Social Security, public employees, police and fire. It also has the deferred charges in here. So we have two deferred charges that we're paying for in the 22 budget, which were charges in previous years. One is the COVID special emergency. This is the first year now that we have to start making those payments, which is $52,000. So that's part of the increase. And the other increase is that in 2021, you needed to do an emergency for some improvements for 30 grand. That emergency is now being funded and paid for in 2022. So those are the items that make up that particular increase. Debt service and capital improvements, this is down dramatically. And this is what I was referring to before. Now we have the dramatic decrease in the interest on the notes and the dramatic decrease on the principal on the note. And that all directly reflects to the 220-230 projects. And the last but not least is the reserve fund collected. I touched upon this before when we started talking about our collection rate went down, our tax receivable number went up roughly 200,000. And what it does then, it makes us increase our reserve fund collected because it's based on a collection rate. And we're providing adequate funding, cash flow, because we have to pay the school, we have to pay the county 100% of their tax levy. We also have to levy enough money to make sure that at the end of the day, that we have enough cash flow to make all of those payments, plus pay all our own bills. And then also we have to figure out, well, what are we not going to collect in revenues? So when you factor all of that in, it becomes a line item in the budget, but it's not a spending line item. We never spend on it. It's a way of where we increase or tax more dollars to make sure we have cash flow issues. And that's set by statute. So it's not something that we're making up. But that's up, basically to 575.
And that's something I think people just don't realize, that no matter what, if we don't get the taxes in, we still have to pay the schools everything that we owe them.
Right. And it's, the total tax levy is enormous. So, there's a lot of cash flow that runs through the borough. You are the collection and payment agency. So yes, everything needs to be done through you. And that's why that number's there. And it's typically a hard, hard concept to explain sometimes, but I hope that's adequate. So if I go to page 6, page 6 is really, again, something very similar here. I think if you look at any of the years that we did in the past, where does the total tax dollars go? Typically, police services is going to be the largest probably in every single community around neighboring communities. It's just a fact of life. Those services are quite high and expensive, but this is very typical. No major changes from what you had in the previous years. Okay, I'm going to go to page 7. So as I said before, and we started talking about New Jersey and how they establish limitations on what you can spend in tax. This one goes all the way back to 1977, believe it or not, where at that point the legislature said, "Hey, listen, we want to try to curtail taxes in New Jersey. Let's put a limit on what you can spend on the spending side." And so this is kind of similar in its sense, like I spoke before. So on the spending side, you're limited based upon the cost of living increases on an annual basis. Well, for 2022, the cost of living was determined to be at 2.5%. And then we're allowed to go to 3.5% if you do a COLA ordinance. And what we do is we do that on an annual basis, and then that amount of excess money, if there exists, and it stays for a 3-year period. So very similar to the concept I was talking about before. We have a current budget spending cap that's in this current budget. We're spending within cap limitations of $10,354,886. The statute says we can go up, and we're permitted to spend $10,483,000. So if we wanted to spend inside the cap, you can spend another $129,000 and still be within the statutory limitation. I'm going to go to page 8. Okay, so page 8 is just a little bit of the tax and the apportionment here. And, even though we do put in the county and the school, really that's not a focus of mine. I think the main focus has to be what's in control of the governing body that's in front of you, which is really just the municipal side. And the municipal side and the rate, you can see the rate doesn't really change here, but it's a little deceiving because what's happening is that your total assessed values in the borough went up dramatically, which is terrific. And I think that's part of the overall picture of fiscal operations. So assessed values from 21 were at 1,800,000. Now in 2022, the overall assessed values went to 1,900,000,000, and I'll roughly round it to $1,920 million. So that's a substantial increase, and that's key. And we sit here and talk about it, with tax dollars and how do you survive and how do you deal with it? The best way is to deal with assessed value growth. So that's up overall 6.6%, overall borough-wide growth. But then we have to flip it to, what is the average homeowner? Because I think that's, we're always relating everything to the average person in town. And so the average person in town, their average assessed value changed as well. So in 2021, the average assessed value was $689,996. And then in 2022, that value went up as well. It went to $725,779. So that's up, but it's up 5.2%, which meaning that, the overall assessed values of the residential component went up, but it didn't go up quite as much as the overall, and it winds up giving the average residential homeowner a bit of a break compared to the overall tax if it had stayed stable with the borough-wide. So even though you're looking at 0 on the tax rate, if you would have flipped through to the next page, and that's page 9. And page 9 is just kind of telling you where the total tax dollars go. If you go through and do the calculation, this is remaining unchanged from previous years as well. It really stays pretty stable. So of every dollar, 27 cents is just you on a municipality, and then the rest of it is between the school and the county. But if I was to carry that to, just 1 second, if I was to carry that to page 10 now, and it's kind of what we're talking about. So the tax rate stays the same, but because the assessed value on an average home increased, meaning that we're going to use the same rate, but on two different values. So the average person should see about a $216 increase from 21 to 22.
And it's also, I think, important to note that out of that 26 cents, I think we're only have control over 50% of it, or even less than that.
Probably less. I'd say even less than that. Yeah, even less. Now, I did go through and kind of do, like, assuming our numbers are somewhat accurate on the overall tax dollars. And that's going to be about a 3.6, 3.5% overall on the total bill. If I factored in the county and the school, it's a 2% increase. And I don't know if anybody has any questions at this point, but that ends the presentation.
Anyone? Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm just polling the council. Anyone on the council have any questions? Everyone's good? Well, we're all good. Thank you very much.
Right.
Yes, now, does residents have questions?
Right, so, right, so Paul, you're gonna stay, right? So when we open it up to the public, if anyone has questions, you'll be able to field them?
Absolutely. I'll be here as long as you need me.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Agenda review. Tonight, Tom Borgi again. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you. Filling in for Ray Wiss, who is where?
Turks and Caicos,
Turks and Caicos.
kids and grandkids.
I'm sure it was a tough call, right, but we're pleased to have you and thank you for joining us. On our regular session agenda, there will be a public hearing for our 2022 budget, along with approval of several sets of minutes, 2 ordinances for second reading and public hearing, and 1 ordinance being introduced, a resolution appointing a borough clerk, and 20 resolutions on the consent agenda. Would anyone like to speak to any of these items or have any questions?
I mean, I'm going to speak to them.
That's fine. Absolutely fine. Anyone else?
Same in my report.
Okay, so we don't have any time for a report. I have 2 minutes. Ed, can you do your report in 2 minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll give it a whirl. Thank you,
Councilman
Mayor.
Ed O'Connell.
DPW, the environmental cleanup at the DPW got through a major project last week, and hopefully they'll be encapsulating the parking lot in the fall. In spite of several delays with the materials being delivered for the playground, the project will be completed by Memorial Day weekend, hopefully. The DPW has received several compliments on the current condition of ball fields in Allendale from visiting coaches as well.
Right.
Having played on them, they look great, and some of the coaches have told us as well. And the paving of Franklin Turnpike by Bergen is still on schedule for the fall. Seems to be on schedule.
Michelle and Mike Greenwood.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Mayor's signing papers again tonight. for the fall.
That's all right. That's all right.
Crestwood Lake preparation is going along very nicely. DPW is looking forward to opening that up to the residents on Memorial Day. And under the supervision of Dan Richards, the DPW moved a large china closet for Patty, the library director, and the annual fire extinguishers and all the borough facilities was completed yesterday.
That's great.
We got it in?
You did.
Okay.
You're wonderful. Thank you. So I would request a motion to adjourn the work session.
So moved.
Thank you, Liz. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Great. 1 minute and we will start our regular
Oh, you
session.
think I could get it done in 1 minute?
I'm not going to answer that.
Everybody loves water and sewer.
8 o'clock. The time is 8 p.m. and this is the May 12th, 2022 regular session of the Allendale Mayor and Council. Welcome to everyone who is joining us tonight in person as well as via Zoom webinar. At this time, I ask the public present to please mute your devices so as not to distract from the business of the meeting. There'll be 2 more opportunities for those present to speak during this meeting, and we will advise you at the appropriate times. Michelle, please read the Open Public Meetings Act announcement.
Sure. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the notice requirements have been satisfied. The meeting dates for the year confirmed at the annual meeting are posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and on the borough website, published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year, and copies are sent to the Ridgewood News and Star Ledger. Notice of this meeting by the May 10th, 2022 Sunshine Notice was sent to the record, Ridgewood News and Star Ledger, and has been posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and borough website.
Great, thank you. I would ask you to rise to salute the flag, and then, as I mentioned during the work session, please remain standing for a moment of silence for former Mayor Emeritus Al Lombard. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Thank you all for that. Michelle, please conduct the roll call.
Sure. Councilwoman Homan. Here. Councilwoman Lovasolo. Here. Councilman O'Connell.
Here.
Councilman O'Toole.
Here.
Councilman Sasso. Absent. Councilwoman Wilsinski. Here. And Mayor Bernstein.
Here, thank you. Public comment on agenda items only. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on an agenda item? Not seeing anyone. Approval of the minutes. So we are going to we're going to do it individually because there are different people that are going to abstain. So first, request a motion to approve the minutes of January 20th, 2022 work session and January 2022 regular session. Councilman O'Connell abstains.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Homan.
I'm an abstain. Thank you.
Councilwoman Lovasolo.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell.
Abstain.
Councilman O'Toole.
Yes.
Councilman Sasso is absent. Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Okay, next, it's a motion to approve the minutes of February 10th, 2022 work session and regular session. Everyone, according to my notes, everyone can vote. A motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Ed. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Matt. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Homan.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Lovasolo.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell.
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole.
Yes.
Councilman Sasso is absent, and Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Next is a motion to approve the minutes of February 24th, 2022 work session and regular work session and February 24th regular session. Council members Homan and O'Connell should abstain. So I'd request a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Suzanne. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Homan.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Lovasolo.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell.
Abstain.
Councilman O'Toole.
Yes.
Councilman Sasso is absent, and Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Next is a motion to approve the minutes of March 10th, 2022 work session and regular session. Councilman O'Toole should abstain. The motion, I would request a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Suzanne. Second,
Second O'Connell.
thank you, Ed. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Homan,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Abstain.
Councilman Sasso is absent, Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Next is to request a motion to approve the minutes of April 28th, 2022 work session and regular session. Council members Sasso and Wazinski should abstain. Request a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Suzanne.
We're getting to a group here.
Second,
Second
Second.
O'Connell.
thank you, Ed. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Homan,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso is absent, and Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Abstain.
Okay. Next is ordinance for second reading and public hearing, ordinance 22-02. Michelle, please read the title of ordinance 22-02.
Sure. The following ordinance published herewith was first read by title only on April 28, 2022, and posted on the bulletin board of the lobby of the municipal building and borough website. This is ordinance 22-02, an ordinance granting consent and permission to Suez Water, New Jersey, Inc. to furnish water treatment, storage, and conveyance service in the borough of Allendale, New Jersey.
Great. And now I would open the floor to the public for public comment on ordinance 22-02. If you'd like to.
Yeah. If there isn't a public comment. I
Nope.
think-
So now would be,
Yeah, I
yeah.
feel like before we vote on it.
I
So
agree.
just, and the last meeting, we introduced this ordinance. So this is the second reading, and this is a duplicate for the public. And I know everybody on the council knows this, but as a reminder that it's a duplicate of the ordinance that we passed back in December of 2022. So as Michelle said, it's really allowing Suez, or now transitioning to Veolia, to the consent and permission to operate water treatment, storage, and conveyance in our borough of Allendale, New Jersey. And the reason why it was reintroduced was really just to ensure that from a publication of public posting, that we met every possible requirement. So for this particular ordinance, it was identified that it actually needed to be posted in physical places besides being posted online. So we needed to post it in the library. And so we just wanted to ensure that we had followed every letter of the law. So the consent has not changed. It was really just the alerting?
Publication.
Publication, public notification.
Right.
So at any rate, so hopefully everybody's good with that.
Good. Thank you for that clarification. I think it's
Yeah.
helpful.
I just feel like people might say, why again?
Right. I forget, did I open the floor for public comment? Right, I did. Okay.
We just need a motion.
Okay, I
Oh,
would
so moved.
request a motion, council member to make a motion to move to pass and adopt on second and final reading ordinance 22-02. Notice of same shall be published according to law.
Omen.
Second.
Thank you, Suzanne. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso is absent, and Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Great. Next, ordinance 22-03. I would ask Michelle to read the title of ordinance 22-03.
Sure. The following ordinance published herewith was first read by title only on April 14, 2022, and posted on the bulletin board of the lobby of the municipal building and borough website. This is ordinance 22-03, calendar year 2022 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank in accordance with NJSA 40A:4-45.14.
Great. Open the floor for public comment on 22-03. Not seeing anyone. I would request a council member to make a motion to move to pass and adopt on second and final reading ordinance 22-03. Notice of same shall be published according to law.
So moved.
Thank you, Amy. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Sure. Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso is absent, and Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Great. Resolutions, request a motion to approve resolution 22-135.
So moved. Second.
Am I up to date? Am I good there? Okay, Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Lovasolo. Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso is absent, and Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Okay, public comment. Open the floor to the public for public comments on 20-22 local municipal budget. Anyone? Not seeing anyone. I would request a motion to approve resolution 22-136.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
thank you. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso is absent, and Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Great. Next is 22-137 is to appoint our municipal clerk, Linda Louise Servino. So, yeah. So, Michelle will at some point be leaving, which is a bittersweet moment, but I'm not going to focus on that. So we're not going to address that. What we are going to address is who in her place, who walked in to fill her shoes, which will be difficult, but we found a wonderful, wonderful candidate, a wonderful, wonderful person. The HR Administration and Finance Committee we interviewed several people. Suffice it to say, her qualifications were wonderful, but knowledgeable, warm, experienced, eager. I can't say enough. I know you haven't started yet, but I'm so excited. I think I speak, I'm gonna let everyone else speak, but I think I'll speak for myself. I am so excited to have you serve as our clerk. So I would request a motion, and if I could vote here, I would. This would be one of the times where I would like to have a vote, but I would request a motion to approve resolution 22-137 to appoint Linda Louise Servino as our municipal clerk.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Sure. Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso is absent, Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Great, good, congratulations. Um, 22-04. Inspections and fees. So I'd request, do we need an introduction? I'm going to just request a motion.
Request a motion.
Okay, I will request a council member to make a motion to introduce and pass on first reading ordinance 22-04 and set the hearing for May 26, 2022 at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter in the council chambers of the Allendale Municipal Building.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt. Request a second.
Homan.
Thank you, Liz. Michelle, please read the title of the ordinance and conduct a roll call.
Sure. This is ordinance 22-04, an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 128-8 of the Code of the Borough of Allendale entitled Additional Required Inspections and Fees. Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso is absent, and Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is our consent agenda. We have a lot on the consent agenda, a lot of Crestwood, some tax appeals. Anyone, I already asked, any questions on the consent agenda? Not seeing any. I would request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
Second O'Connell.
Thank you, Ed. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell.
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole.
Yes.
Councilman Sasso is absent. Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Any unfinished business? Any new business? No, okay, so I am going to give my report, which will be brief. I don't know if I could have done it in 2 minutes, but I'll go anyhow. As we said, we are excited to be appointing Linda Servino as our municipal clerk. I've already discussed that. Her first day will be Monday, May 23rd. We look forward to you joining our Allendale family. We can't wait. Good, thank you. Summer intern, we're also excited to have Miles Mortimer back with us again this summer to assist at Borough Hall. He'll be starting on May 23rd. We look forward to seeing him again. EV charging station grant. Matt, was that on your report?
Gonna touch on it, yeah.
Okay, so then I'm gonna leave, I can report on it, or I'll let it go and you'll do it.
No. Cut out.
I know.
He gets all bummed.
You got to
It's
go
all right.
first, Lori. So go
It's all
ahead.
right.
No, you know what, you go, and if
It's not all that
you
much,
mess up,
2%.
I'm gonna fill in the blanks.
I'm gonna flip it to you later.
Okay, BCUA Household Hazardous Waste Collection. This Saturday, May 14th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The BCUA will be holding their household hazardous waste collection at Camp Car Reservation at 200 Camp Car Road. A list of accepted items can be found at bcua.org, and this is a rain or shine event. And this Saturday, as I report every, it used to be every month, and then during COVID, it was a little less. Northwest Bergen Mayors Association. There's about 15 of the mayors. We meet every month, and we, talk and we exchange ideas and what's going on. And sometimes we have speakers, and we've rotated where it was, but during COVID, it was just on Zoom. But we're back to doing it in person, and this Saturday, Allendale is hosting. So I'll
Where?
be
Here or the Red Barn?
here at 8 o'clock. Many thanks to Michelle and whoever else has helped. Michelle, you spearheaded it. You reached out to everyone. We got a big turnout, and thank you for all of your help with that. Okay, any reports? Liz?
All righty. Water and sewer. So we talked already about the ordinance, and thank you to everybody for passing that. It just moves us one step closer to closing the deal with Suez now, Veolia. And I can say there's, right now it's about putting together pieces, just making sure that easements are appropriately done. And our water committee is truly so dedicated in every step of this journey. And we are hopeful that we will have a closing, late summer or early fall. So that's our goal. But I think, everybody on the water committee would agree that has been, we have a very long spreadsheet, and we just keep trying to check things off. And Suez has been tremendous to work with. So it's all looking good. On the sewer side, at the last council meeting, we discussed and passed resolution 22-134. And as I shared at that meeting, that Saddle River has asked Allendale to accept sewage from a new development of 112 units. And we did pass it. One of the stipulations was that Saddle River their mayor and council needed to pass a mirror resolution, just understanding that two things really needed to be met, that there needed to be a capacity study, and that they would understand that we need to revisit the financial agreements between Saddle River and Allendale for that, just to ensure that the numbers are working correctly, and that in no way would Allendale in any way be negatively impacted. And at that same time, we as a committee are looking at the contract that we have with Ramsey, because a portion of Ramsey also it flows through our sewer pipes. So it's a labor of love once again, because it's interesting, and it's numbers, and it's important. You saw how big the sewer numbers are into our budget, and certainly, and I thank Mike Breland and Ron for, also we're looking at what we can do to invest and improve our sewer system to make it more efficient, just the piping. So that's that. So Mayor's going to be signing this document now that they have also passed the mirror resolution. And also, just as a reminder, the water shutoff moratorium did end on March 15th of 2022. However, prior to the shutoff of a resident's water, the law requires that we offer an installment plan for the unpaid balance. Interest fees may be applied to arrearages. Bill assistance and arrearage forgiveness programs are available through the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, and everyone is encouraged to visit our website where more information is available. And this is an announcement that I need to give at every council meeting. So just, it's a reminder. Anything else that I might have missed?
Nope, you're very thorough.
Okay.
Thank you
Good
so
water
much.
and sewer.
Awesome.
Council President Wazinski.
Thank you. So thanks everybody for passing the budget. It is a long process that we all go through. We try super, super hard to be fiscally conservative. Prices are up. Revenues are down. It's just a combination. We do want to keep our AAA rating. So we do that the best we can. Our top 3 budget appropriations, police, sewer and debt service, or things that really are kind of out of our control. A lot of it is out of our control, but we really do try to be as fiscally conservative with the stuff that we can control. We equally as arduous is our capital budget process. So we are going through all the departments and working through it. We have a lot of road work that needs to be done. We have our fire department needs some safety gear. We also though really try very hard to procure grants. So a lot of our capital budget that we put in, not a lot of it, but a nice chunk of it, we will be actually getting back in grants. So that's pretty much almost done. 220, 230 West Crescent. We've had several meetings. We've had a couple closed sessions with the team. We did receive some numbers the end of the 4th quarter last year, and the numbers came in high. So understandably so, with the supply chain issue, with COVID, we were trying to wait it out as long as we can. The prices really aren't changing that much. So we are going to potentially change the scope. So we've had meetings with the architects and the planners, and we are waiting to see what they come back with. We are waiting to get different numbers. And then we do plan on having a town hall. The date is tentatively set for June 23rd, but I think we probably will go for that. John will help get some notification out to the public, and we hope to have it here live and then also stream it. We did actually put in a grant. There is a grant out there, a federal grant that is available for community centers. So that is out there. And also we are in the process of receiving a grant, was already approved for some of the environmental issues that we were dealing with this project. Crestwood Lake revenue is up to 84K already. Still have a long way to go, but the warm weather brings everybody out. So we're super excited for another great season. I've been in contact with the lake director. Everybody's geared up and ready to go. We have our bands lined up. We will be getting our newsletter out very shortly. The playground's looking great. Still slated to be open for Memorial Day. And so, yeah, we're looking for another great season, hopefully with a lot of great revenue. And today I did attend Mayor Klomberg's services. So just wanted to thank him for his service to his country, as well as his service to the borough of Allendale for so many years. And lastly, welcome Linda to Allendale. I was one of the people that interviewed Linda, and she has a stellar resume, a lot of exciting things. Really looking forward to getting you started. Michelle, of course, you will be missed as well, and big shoes to fill, but I know you'll do a great job. So welcome.
Great. Thank you
That's
very
it for
much.
me.
Councilman O'Toole.
Certainly. As someone else who attended the interviews, welcome. Congratulations. We're happy to have you aboard. As the mayor alluded to earlier, one of the things that I've been kind of interested in pursuing for the borough are electric vehicle chargers. As electric vehicles become more popular, people look for places to charge. The state has started a grant program called the It Pays to Plug In program, which in certain areas where they would like to see more EV chargers, they're offering grants anywhere ranging from $75,000 to $200,000. I've been speaking with the borough's grant writer. He thinks that we have a pretty good shot at it. So an application has been submitted for chargers on Maple Street. There are, of course, guidelines where the state would like to see these chargers. Personally, I think the center of town is one of the best places. Invite people into town and stay for 20 to 65 minutes, however long it takes to charge up their cars. So we wait to hear back on that. I thank Suzanne and Mark Savastano, who allowed me some time to bounce the ideas off of them. Michelle, Chief Dylan, Ron, you guys have been doing all the legwork, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Public safety, police officers Kevin Azevedo and Alex Helmer have completed instructing not even once anti-opioid class up at Northern Highlands. My daughter attended this week and she told me it was very impactful. Police officer Sean Hubbard has completed the Police Unity Tour, which is the bicycle ride from Ground Zero to Washington, D.C. to honor police officers who have died in the line of duty and to raise funds for the National Police Memorial. Way more
How many
time.
miles was that?
I don't know, but it's more miles and time than I would ever want to spend on a bicycle.
Contrary to popular belief, it's not downhill.
But
We
it
gotta
looks,
find
it
out how
looks
many
like
miles
that.
that is. That's crazy.
Officers completed the first round of active shooter and rifle qualifications instructed by Sergeant Crockey, Detective Rizzo, Officer Hillgardner, and Officer Bartoloma. And finally, the numbers so far, year-to-date fire calls, 84, EMS calls, 284, and year-to-date police record entries and calls for service, 6,156. Thank you.
Great.
How did I do? Did I miss anything?
It was okay.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Lovasolo.
So normally mine are somewhat short. I'm going to make it a little longer tonight because I just want to touch on something with the Green Team. The Land Use Committee will be meeting next Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. The 18th. We got some things on our agenda that we go or going to I look forward to it, Ron. But I want to take a minute to recognize someone who is here tonight. Steve Rycroft is sitting in our audience tonight. He is a member of the Green Team, and he is someone who volunteered to take the minutes for us, which I am always just in awe of someone volunteering to be the secretary. He does an incredible job with keeping us organized, and he is also working hard to get our borough reestablished, our certification reestablished with Sustainable New Jersey. And the great news about that is we had such a successful Allendale Spring Cleaning and Recycling Day that we are well on our way to reestablishing our bronze level as a sustainable borough. So it is great. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to remind everyone, we are still selling compost bins and rain barrels. If you're interested in them, you can reach out to the Allendale Green Team at theallendalegreentteam@gmail.com. Many thanks to former Councilman Jim Strouch, who has volunteered to deliver these if you order one. So Jim's been riding around and delivering
And can I
compost
ask,
bins.
it would be great because it's amazing how much weight of garbage, like just like a watermelon rind. I mean, taking that out of the garbage and we pay for garbage by weight is huge. But one of the things I would love to see is sort of an educational program on the dirt and kind of caring for it, because we've had one for quite some time and found a couple little mistakes we were making of not putting in brown leaves. But so it would be great if we can.
But I know you love the compost bins.
I love it. I just can't believe how much weight in garbage we have saved with, putting in vegetable, stuff, like around everything. It's
Great.
amazing.
It is.
Eggshells. So
That is
thank
it.
you so much to the
Great.
Green Team.
So before I go, is Paul Lurch still on or?
All has left the meeting.
Good, and I felt I should have thanked him, although I think we did. And once we opened up to the public and no one spoke, that was the appropriate time. And so we appreciate him.
We say Bill Wow.
I was just gonna say that.
That's right.
Let's not forget, we pay him by the hour.
Right. Next, Tom, a borough attorney, anything to report?
Nothing new. Mayor,
Okay,
thank you.
great, thank you. Michelle, anything to report?
I just wanted to welcome Linda and just say thank you to everyone.
Okay. I'm not saying goodbye yet. So I'm not even gonna go there. Ron Kistner,
Everything's actually quiet.
I saw Ron
Wow.
today up all spiff dressed up at the playground, instructing, giving out things. It was great. And the playground looks so good too. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our CFO, Lisa Mayer?
I think everybody's pretty much covered.
That's right. Okay,
We are planning on introducing the capital budget next.
okay. Thank you. Chief of Police,
Well, thank you, Mr.
Mike
Mayor.
Dillon? My pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Oh, glad to be here. It's been a busy couple weeks.
Couple
Feels
years.
like- Excuse me. But it's been very busy with mostly traffic safety issues. So just take a moment to address some of the discussion that's been in the public about some traffic issues. I've been a police officer for 18 years and I don't know why, maybe post-COVID, maybe because of the way society is with our economy, but it seems like people are driving a little more aggressively. So the Allendale police have taken proactive and reactive measures to address this. There's been some concern about crossings, and we're working on both enforcement and also public awareness campaigns to try to prevent any accidents from occurring. We also teamed up with the school, and now we're using school mascots to make the message more relatable to our youth, and helmet reward coupons that give people that ride their bike safely a free cookie or ice cream at the cafeteria of their school. Some of the reactive measures that we've been taking, we have a 3-speed measurement devices throughout town that sends a report to me every morning of speeds throughout the day. Dedicated overtime funds to enforcement activities and enforcement related grants. And definitely have seen an increase in the amount of motor vehicle summons, warnings, and motor vehicle stops compared to this time last year.
I know you guys are out there, got men and women, and you've been doing a great job.
Thank you. I agree. And a lot of thanks to those of my staff. They really have stepped up and really risen to the occasion. They are all fantastic to me and much appreciated. And they are making a difference in Allendale in
Right.
many ways.
Yeah, I believe that's the case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Tyler Yacarino, our Borough Webmaster and IT guru.
Total calls year to date is 45,029. So they keep going up. That's as of 5 minutes ago. And I'll be meeting with Ron probably tomorrow morning to discuss some open items. Other than that, nothing to report.
Actually, I forgot one thing. We had a meeting actually right before this meeting
Right.
about IT with Tyler and John Gill. And we were discussing how we are trying to improve the communications with the residents. Currently, we have kind of like a makeshift, camera there, and the sound sometimes isn't so great. So we're looking to see where we can incorporate like more cameras so the public can actually view the videos for, fun Thursday night TV.
Right, and well, Amy,
Must watch.
it's- yeah, it's a great point, and this came about somewhat
It's
through
fun.
necessity,
It is.
through
I
COVID,
agree.
when we were closed, and the two of you were amazing, and you really, to us seamlessly, you were able to broadcast us out. The leaps and bounds that you've made with our land use meetings, where we have applications where everyone would have in the old days, would have the paper and that was it. But now it's coming in digitally. There's a screen. Everyone's looking at the same screen. We've come a long way. We still have ways to go, or further to go. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
Our vision meeting today. That's a great point.
Real quick on that.
Yes.
Alyssa's still here. Disclaimer, we will be coming under the capital budget request, so.
But it's money well spent, and it's for the residents, and it's to make it user friendly, just like we did with GovPilot and everything else. So when they come, they can participate, they can watch, and that's all good stuff. Director of Communications, John Gill.
Borough newsletter is being assembled now. Anyone who has some last minute submissions, please get them to me.
I do.
ASAP.
I do.
I know some new people who still getting some information to me. We're working on the Crestwood newsletter. I know we just got the band, so we'll be putting that together as well.
And I'll have a 2:20, 2:30.
And 2:20, 2:30. So there's a couple more submissions. Hopefully we're getting that out soon. Working with the police department on some public safety videos that we've been putting online and on social media. They're getting very well received. And finally, just locally in the building, we had a donation of a small television, which we have utilized in the clerk's office as a digital billboard outside of our clerk window. So before you leave, check it out. We've got some slides and some
Oh,
information.
that's cool.
we put on there.
Wonderful. Thank you.
The highest tech borough in Bergen.
That's our goal.
All right, that's right. And now the moment some of you have been waiting for, public comment. I open the floor to the public on any matter. Anyone wish to be heard? Mr. Thomas, would you like to be heard? Please state your name and address for the record.
Well, Michelle knows that. James Thomas, 30 Arlington Avenue.
Great, thank you.
Mayor, the construction of a one-story building where formerly we were expecting a two-story municipal building, would that be referred to the land use board?
We believe that the new concept would need to come back to the land use board, yes.
Could you guess when that might be before the public announcement?
It would we're looking for the July meeting, July 20th. We're aiming for the July 20th meeting.
So any view that the plan board use might have will not be known to the time the public is introduced to this situation. Is that correct?
Can you just I want to make sure that we answer the question that you asked. Ask the question again.
Well, my question is, did I hear correctly that the reference to the land use board will be after the meeting that you're suggesting will be later this month?
In terms of the
The
town
public
hall.
meeting?
Sorry, town hall.
Yeah.
So any thoughts that the land use board members might have will not be available to the public when you introduce the subject. It seems to me that a courtesy ought to be that this would go to the land use board before it's presented as a final thing.
I would think reasonable minds could differ. I would think it'd be the other way around. I think that we would take the concept and go to the public that this is what we're contemplating doing, explain it to them. So and then thereafter and hear their feedback, and then thereafter go to the land use board. And at the land use board, the public is, as you know, the public is welcome to attend, listen, and make their opinions known. Amy, do you want to?
We've already been in front of the land use board for a lot of part of it. So this is a tweak to it, and it's most likely making it smaller, but it's a little premature to have this conversation yet because we really don't have any plans yet. So that's why when I talked to you on the phone, I was saying this is premature. So this is not really out for the public yet because we have to wait to see what we come back with our planners and our architects. So we're just right now working with a bunch of different concepts and trying to get get all the data before we make some good decisions.
Okay. Is the vision committee still active?
No,
So it would not be involved in the planning of this facility, the new facility?
no.
Do you have any comment about that? Is that by intent or?
We've already kind of been through that. So this is kind of like the tail end of it. So what we're just doing right now is we're just modifying what we've already come up with. So we're just modifying it and looking at different alternatives. So it's not something that we would need a whole vision committee for at this point in time.
Mayor, on March 7, 2019, in an issue of the Town Journal of that date, you gave a very comprehensive review of the project, which was then known as the 220-230 construction project. Do you recall that?
No.
Well, you did, and I commend you for it. It was very well done. 18 months later, on October 29th, 2020, Amy and I think Ms. Holman, I think you were involved, did a very similar job in a town meeting. It was a virtual town meeting, as I recall.
Mhm.
Now, 18 months have passed since that last review. And I'm asking whether or not you would respond to a interview to do the same thing again if the local press approached you.
So an interview. Well, we have spoken to the press. we've spoken to the press, and whenever the press, except for one time when I missed an email, and I think they said the mayor did not respond, it was a missed email, but in all other occasions, when the press reaches out to us, we respond as quickly as possible.
Well, on a specific subject, I'm talking here about a complete review of where we've been and where we have been, where we are today, and where we might go on this project in the
Right.
future.
Yeah, and so Marcia Stoltz from the Record reached out to me. And I've responded to her today, just to acknowledge her email and to let her know that we would be speaking with her. Councilwoman Wazinski also reached out to Marcia as well. So when the time is appropriate, we will absolutely be speaking to the press.
And I hope it's within the next 7 months. Thank you.
Thank
May
you.
I say, if I were younger, I'd run over and kiss Michelle, but I can't do that, obviously. So thank you very much for everything.
Thank you.
Great. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard?
Boy Scout in the back, no? You don't want to come up, your name for the record? We usually make them, but.
Yeah, you should be on the record.
Put on record, but someone they told me, put on record, that's how we learned. You just want to put your name, okay.
Okay,
As long as you covered.
all right. Then that is it. I would request a motion to adjourn the regular session.
So
So-
moved.
Thank you, Liz. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.